Welcome to Desiderius Ripple podcast. In this season, we're diving into learnings from the Leadership for Green Transition, a training where we explore sustainability beyond environmental lens and as something deeply connected to how we lead, communicate, make decisions, and sustain youth organizations over time. Today, we are happy to be joined by two youth workers from Latvia, Marika and Justine. Marika is a primary school teacher. Currently, she is a class teacher for 3rd grade. Alongside her daily teaching work, she also organizes various school events and coordinates the ACA school program for 1st and 12th grades. Inspired by our training, Marika also joined our Latvian partner organization Club Zmaja. Starting in March, she will take on the role of office manager, where she will be responsible for reviewing documents and supporting the organization's internal processes and team coordination. We're super excited about this one. Justine is the Community Involvement Project Manager for the Foundation Liepāja 2027, where she plays an important role in shaping the European Capital of Culture. With a deep-rooted background in education and innovation, experience as a teacher and educational work specialist, she's a passionate advocate for the culture of peace, community empowerment, and strongly believes in each individual's potential in the right environment. She's the driving force behind initiatives that bridge the gap between institutions and the public, as well as between formal and non-formal learning. Her road goes from the bakery to environmental education to international youth mentoring programs, accessibility conferences, and project management. Open-minded and with a huge heart, she's always ready to share an experience and believes that the culture of peace is a key to a better future.
Wow, that sounds so diverse. I'm looking forward to how this podcast is going to look like. It's great to have you two here. Welcome. And let's talk about a little bit, as Hannah mentioned, why we are here. So we were all participants on the training of Leadership for Green Transition. And so when you arrived at this training, what did sustainability mean in your daily work? And did that understanding shift during this training week?
Yes, thank you for asking me to be here, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And when I look back at this beautiful week that we had, and when I look back even time before that, I understand that sustainability for me was like a huge global concept in which we act towards a world that lasts for future generations. It was like more about direct activities and green mindset. I think it's like a loud name of that. And I agree that at some point my perception of sustainability was a bit stereotypical, and I'm not proud of that. But this training course opened my understanding that this topic is a bit wider. And now I think I have a fuller perception of what is a sustainable organization and sustainability as it is. In my work, sustainability also still is about environmental side of sustainability. So I can say for sure that after this training, I see that we work as a sustainable organization, even though we are not calling it like that. We are just working as we see it, right? I would like to underline that in my team, we are 20 plus people. I think we already work as sustainable as we can, even though we don't dive deep in this term sustainable organization. And of course, there's still place for growth, but I don't think that it's as bad as I thought at the beginning. So to answer the second question of yours, yes, my understanding shifted and the change in my mindset is huge. And it will help me during my further 2 years of work here. And I cannot say enough thank you, Hannah and Branko, for things that you brought up and that you gave us. So thank you.
Thank you. We are very happy and humbled at the same time to hear this. But we also like to hear, Marika, you about this training and sustainability, and did the shift happen?
Hi guys, hi everyone. I wanted to say thank you to Hannah and Branko for a great training, and also thank you for a chance to be part of this podcast. I am very glad that I joined it. Like, to be honest, when I arrived at the training, I was quite convinced that we would mainly talk about green energy change and how to explain solar panels and wind turbines to teenagers in a way that would finally make them say, wow, this is cool. And I thought we will plan eco campaigns, plan free planting events, and figuring out how to save the planet together with the young people. Then Branko started introducing us a program and casually mentioned that we would be very little or possibly no focus on green energy at all. At that moment, I realized I might have packed the wrong expectations, and I understood that I hadn't arrived with the right idea or vision of what this training would actually be about. I am really glad that I came anyway. In the end, I enjoyed what I experienced and learned. Sustainability now means much more to me than just green energy. And yeah, for example, but just last week I had the social science lesson with the fifth grade students. And I was able to tell them that sustainability in a classical sense isn't the whole picture. There is also broader meaning that is caring about human well-being in the long term, and that felt like a small but meaningful shift in my own understanding and teaching. And now, when I am thinking about the sustainability in my daily work, mostly means keeping things going in a stable way over the longer period of time. And as a teacher, I usually think about long-term stability, consistency, and making sure that we build in the classroom continues beyond just one lesson. And for me, it was about balance, not burning out, managing responsibilities, and making sure students make progress according to the learning program we are required to follow. And for me, like this learning definitely changed understanding of sustainability, and I started to see sustainability not only as maintaining systems but supporting people and helping them grow. It's not just about surviving challenges, it's about creating an environment where both teachers and students can develop without them consistently feeling overwhelmed. Sustainability became more about relationships, communication, shared understanding, and emotional strengths.
This is really amazing, and thank you for going in such depths for this answer. Because I also remember when we were on training, we were kind of trying to highlight different perspectives of sustainability as we see it, going from personal to organizational to how we outreach, how we interact with the environment through either organizational, or Hannah was covering the narratives that we have supporting different systems. And it's amazing how to hear how both of you actually put this into practice with your realities and how it actually makes sense when you change the paradigm that sustainability is not just about environment or environment protection, but it's much more broader. But let's go back a little bit more on the training. And again, question for both of you. Which sessions resonated with you the most and why?
Yes, I was thinking about this and I was going through all the sessions that we had, and it wasn't easy to choose which was the resonated the most with me. But for me, the most moving sessions were about decision making, inner communication, and this green print. So these were three, the main, the most interesting for me. And all of those sessions forced us to think deeper about our inner feelings and how we perceive things. It was a lot about analyzing our own actions and the methodology, how we do things, and how we can do them more efficiently. And I truly appreciate that there were tools that are not only tools as a hammer, but tools that we can already take and directly use in our daily work life. And it's incredible how less we think about our decision making strategy and processes that happens in us during different situations. And at the same time, it's super sad for me how fast our days go by and how minimal space there is for evaluation, revision, just thinking about what's happening, what happened with me. And I think it was amazing. And in terms of green print, it's amazing to get a nice, well processed and already working tool that you don't have to make as a new bicycle. But there is a tool that you just take and use for planning and evaluating your project or organization. And I already provided this green print for my colleagues that are working with the evaluation of the project and organization. So it was super useful. And I think again, it's about how we think. How we think. Do you think strategically? Do you evaluate how we plan things, and how do we see organization as a sustainable formation, sustainable thing? So how we perceive those things, and all of those tools, all of those sessions, they forced us to stop and think about those things. It was like a time machine that stops time finally, and we have a space for thinking and sometimes overthinking, but in a good way. And that's also necessary. And that probably will be the main key takeaway for me, to find the time and space for processing processes. Yes, these three things.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Justine. Yeah. Marika, would you like to share?
So I can say that three things resonated with me the most. Among all the sessions, I like two things the most, and one discussion. Like I like the most three brain lesson and the leadership style session, because I hadn't really thought deeply enough about these topics before, and reflecting on them made me realize that they were most useful and practical things I could actually apply in my daily work and also in my personal life. Yeah, like leadership styles for me means something more, because before I thought that a captain style leader is the most right one, but now I think a good leader is the one who has all four, like coach, captain, collaborator, and conceiver. And a good leader is the one who may in the right moment can push employees to do the right thing, not just be the captain and the lead others, but also to see that my employees is good enough to do their own ideas. Yeah. And but about rebrain session, yeah, Branko mentioned that there was the date that is saying that women mostly think with heart when it's about decision making. And I can agree with this data. And yeah, for example, me as a woman, I also mostly think with my heart, and now I understand that I need also think with the brain. And yeah, mostly in my daily life I think with heart and gut, but now I need to use all of them, all three, like heart, brain, and gut. Yeah. So if I use all three, then I can be a good leader, and people can follow me and follow the rule, and also be the not just good leaders but also basic normal human being, because in our normal life it's very important to think with all of this one, because in every situation that we create is about how good we are with managing problems. And if we are not able to think with all of them, that we are not good with managing our problems on our what about discussion that we talked about was about situation where employees are burned out and there is no time for holiday. And the funny part was that, in one hand, some people said that we could just write an email and ask for time because we simply couldn't manage until the deadline. On the other hand, someone suggested asking for extra people to help finish the work, but then there was people who insisted that the deadline was the most important thing and that we must finish dead or alive before it ends. And yeah, after this discussion, I asked myself and to others in the end of the day, what is really important, the human being or the deadline? And yeah, also funny was that the people I mentioned it and I highlighted people who are from like warm countries like Spain and Italy said that humans are the most important, while people who are from colder countries like Latvia, Romania, Czech Republic, Poland said that the deadline comes first because other people are counting on us like clients or other employees.
Thank you, Marika, for bringing also this cultural awareness into this topic. And it seems like so many things happen into this like 5.5 days that you are not even aware of that until you hear something like what you shared. And just in my defense, I just want to make one note. It was the research data that showed. I just mentioned it. The research data showed that women have more tendency to make decisions with heart-based decisions. But to be honest, the sample included more than 70% of women on the leadership roles. So that could be also one of the biases. But thank you for mentioning this, and I think it's greatly important for us to be actually aware of all of the research that we have to make a holistic, sustainable decision. Less of me now, and Hannah, lead us please into the next.
I want to just to follow up on you saying how many things happened. I'm very happy, and obviously you didn't agree prior to that, but you mentioned 3 different sessions, each of you, which sort of already gives our audience a really good overview of what this training was about. So thank you so much also for your reflections on each individual sessions. And something that I particularly appreciated in both of your responses is that you also tied it to your personal context and your professional engagements that you have. And this is also something that we would really want to hear more about on this episode. What are the takeaways that you are sort of tying, and how you are taking these insights from the training in the context of your professional engagements? So maybe we can start with Justine. I mean, you mentioned to me during the training that you were navigating quite a few projects, and I couldn't believe that you were there with us. And I remember saying, thank you so much for making time to come to our training. And obviously, it's a quite ambitious role that your team is taking on now with this project of cultural capital. My first question probably would be, in your current role managing many parallel projects, what part of the training felt most relevant to your reality at this point?
Yes, I'm still thinking about the whole training and how it is, and what is the sustainable organization in context of my organization where I am at now. And I think it's really hard to pinpoint out a specific point of the training and specific things that comes in my mind. One thing that is still relevant is how I can help my organization be more sustainable from my position, because I'm not a manager of the organization. I'm not the head of it. I'm just one small part of the organization, and how I can improve what's happening here through my experience from the training course. And I think one good thing that I already mentioned is this green print, how we can practically sit down and evaluate each project. And there are many projects, but each project, we can evaluate each of them, and we can evaluate whole organization, and it will instantly help us. It will instantly help us to understand where we are now and what are those gaps that we can improve on. And I think this will make a change and make a difference, because we still have 1 year and 10 months to do so. So it's not like we are at the end of the title year, and we have still a lot of time for improvement. And I think it's really hard to manage those parallel projects because, as you said, it's really ambitious, and it should be ambitious. But at the same time, this training course, just like I sat down and I thought through all the processes that is going on here, and I found the ways how I can help at least myself to be more sustainable, and how to do things efficiently, and how not to burn out, and how to put the puzzle together and to build up on this whole picture of things that are going on. Not only to look at some specific part of my daily work life, but to see this as a whole picture, and to be able to find those separate pieces of the puzzle and again put them back together. It's like dissecting something. You dissect, then you understand, and then you can put everything back and work further. So yes, I think this was like the thing that was going on and is still going on in my head after this training course. And also, I knew that I have these leadership skills and abilities. But after this training course, I think I found myself as a bit better leader. It's the word that comes in my mind and that was in my mind for the whole week was word balance. And it's not only about balance of your daily work life, because there is a lot of things going on, but it's about how to balance those leadership skills. And as Marika said, you can be like the captain, but at what point you have to switch your leadership style and how to combine them at some point, because you cannot be only one leader. It's the same as your personality. You're not only outgoing personality. You have all of them and how to balance in between everything. So yes, probably this is the most relevant thing about my reality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you mentioning at some point that, with so many things sort of coming from the training in terms of learnings, but also navigating back to your project work, you said, I tried to see what I can be more sustainable and how I can be on a personal level more sustainable, and then seeing how I can bring it to the organizational level. And I think it was also one of the ideas we really wanted to bring with this training, but that sustainability, it's also about your personal well-being. And we talked about burnout, we talked about communication, inner communication, being able to connect with your own feelings, emotions, but also physical well-being. So especially when you're navigating quite stressful, work, and project management is probably one of those. It's really important, to be aware of your place and also to care about this sustainability that starts with your own self. So thank you so much for this sharing.
Yeah, and if I can add, we're talking about, projects bring so much impact towards sustainability, but who is behind those projects? It's you and me. So if we are not well, how will this project bring further impact long term? In that case, I think we can bring it to the close.
I mean, to be honest, the answers are very rich, so I wouldn't also want to cut on your answers. So let's continue. So, Justine, I would also like to follow up with a second question. You mentioned at the beginning that your team is about 20 people. And my question is, in the large cultural initiatives, which is obviously a good example of your initiative, sustainability is often about visibility and outputs. And how do you balance that with a team energy and realistic capacity in your own team?
Yes, this probably is the hardest question of all day. Yes, unfortunately, mainly sustainability is about visibility and how others see and perceive our events that we are managing. Although we have created eco-design guidelines for cultural event creation, and that probably should help, but at some point there is a problem with the lack of funding, because a lot of initiatives in terms of sustainability and accessibility, there have to be some money input to implement them. And so it's not working as we ideally thought that it would be. But I think it's not only about money. Of course, money is on one hand, but on the other hand, it's more about mindset and about a lot of questions. For example, do you believe in sustainability? Do you act sustainable in your daily life outside of work? Do you see the value in sustainability, or what does it mean to you personally, not only as an organizational statement? And sometimes I feel that there are more questions than answers. And I think it's sad, and the more I think about that, the more sad I get. But if you sit back for a minute and think more deeply how the habits develops, it takes 21 days of consistency and pushing yourself to change something in your own personal space. And then what it takes to change a habit and the mindset of an organization where I am now. And it's not only now my habit, it's organizational habit. And also we have a huge amount of partners that are involved. It means that it's their mindset as well. And how we can present it as one big organism at one point. And one thing I know for sure, that it's just about keep doing your best if you believe in the values of sustainability, and keep showing an example and keep talking to people about things that matter, and never stop talking about that, and never stop doing what you think is the best. But I think, yes, it's mainly about the mindset, even though it's really hard in reality. When you have specific amount of budget, you have specific places in city that you can use. But it's generally about mindset, how you perceive things. Do you live sustainable? Yes, there is more questions than answers to this question. But yes, if we can switch our mindsets separately and then put them together, then probably it would be better. I think it's a topic that it's not on the table only for my organization. It's for the whole Liepāja, for the whole Latvia, for the whole world, and how we can do so together if we are not doing that separately in our own home. So yeah, I don't have an answer to this question. It's hard, and there are more question marks than I can get.
Well, it was quite interesting when you said that you don't have answer after giving a really elaborated answer. But I think, something that also I kept in my head while you were talking, particularly as you went to the end of your question saying that I don't think that it's about me or my organization or even Liepāja, it's about the world. And this is particularly something that I wanted to resonate while I was listening to your answer, because we had other participants saying to us that one of the main things that they have to navigate in their work and sort of the balance that you also touched upon a bit earlier is, the care, the meaning, the purpose that you want to bring about with your work. And on the other hand, the resources, either the financial capacities, the team that you manage and the team that you can have to dedicate themselves to this project. So this is certainly very pertinent for youth work, probably in general as a sector.
And if I can add, one of the reasons why we have more questions than answers at this point, it's because of the situation that we are now globally, of the sustainability also being unclear, or actually we are not being sustainable in that case. So that's might be also one of the reasons why we might feel sad at moments, but we need to, shape up, shake it up, and do something about it, because it's very much needed. It's a burning question. Yeah.
Yes, and if I can add to you, one thing that we can do already in our daily life, it's work with youth and to provide them with enough knowledge and enough skills and enough mindset so they will be our future. And if we will put them in the right mindset about sustainability, then they will do that in daily life, in workplace, in everything. So the youth work, I think, is the key here.
Thank you, Mom. And I remember during the training, we were having a lunch together. And I said at the very end, when Marika shared with me that she was a teacher and particularly working with, young children, I remember leaving the lunch and just saying, thank you so much for doing this work, because it's so crucial. And obviously it starts from a very early age and the foundation. And I think it was very beautiful. I want to ask, and sort of, I think I bridged it unintentionally, these two areas, formal education and non-formal education that we had in the training. After experiencing the non-formal learning methods, is there something that you would want to experiment with in your classroom?
I can share that when I'm working as a teacher, for me is also very important to use different methods. What I learned, for example, in this non-formal learning sessions and training at all. Yeah, I want to do more experiments with my students. For example, using reflection circles, small group discussions, movement-based tasks, or problem-solving activities where students co-create knowledge use instead of just receiving it. Non-formal learning reminded me that engagement and emotional safety are essential for deeper learning. I want to bring more of that energy into my everyday teaching practice.
Thank you, Marika, for this. I would say personally, I think role of a teacher is a textbook example of leading by example. And I think I should be reminded, or we all should be reminded, it doesn't stop when you're just a teacher or a teaching kid. It should continue leading by example wherever we go, to have this mindset of how we show up to others, how we communicate with others. It's actually what we are teaching others, that it's okay. We are kind of, from habits we create rituals, we create culture, and it's very important. But we talked about a lot of things, a lot of very, very important things today. So let's close this with the last question of the podcast. So what is the one takeaway from the training you would like to incorporate in your work?
Yes, thank you for the question. I think the main key takeaway, and that was not a key takeaway, but it was just a word, is the balance. I already mentioned this word today, but I feel that this is like super important word. And to find a balance between to show an example and to be yourself, to find the balance between different leadership styles, to find the balance between work and your family, and to find the balance between friendship and colleague matters, to find a balance just in everywhere you go, and not only to be yourself, but just to go through your whatever happens in your life with the feeling that you are doing the right thing. And I think the right thing is balance. So probably this will be the key takeaway. And also, I will take with myself this amazing tool that I immediately after the session, I went to Hannah and asked, can I get this one for myself? I need to use this, and I will print this out in X amount of exemplars, and I will use it, this self-assessment tool, because this is like my huge, like biggest problem for myself, to stop for a moment, at least 10 minutes in your life, in each day or each situation. Find time to stop and evaluate yourself, assess what happened. And this self-assessment tool beautifully helps you to think in the structure and to think what happened. And I already printed it out. Luckily, I haven't been in a bad situation where I need to use that, but probably this will be the main thing that I will use. I printed it out. I put it in on my table at work, and each time when I feel super stressful or there has been some crazy situations during the workday, I will take one with myself and find a 10-minute space in my day, whatever time in the day, and I will use this. So thank you. This was amazing.
Thank you for sharing so openly about this. Marika?
Yeah, one takeaway that I could take from training I would take how important is reflection. I realized that even small moments of reflection in daily life for myself and students is very important in emotional and social resilience, awareness, and motivation. I would like to create more space for my students in my classroom. For example, after this one session, showed us how we can reflect with Dixit cards, and after this session, I take this method with my kids, and right now I am using as a reflection Dixit cards, and it's a very good method. It's in non-formal education, in formal education. So if everyone don't know how to reflect, you can use Dixit cards, and it's very good method to create a reflection with young people, with older people, with new people, with people who already because this method is like very, very like basic, that you're using just one picture, and with one picture you can create a whole story, and it's very important to use this one as a good reflection method.
Thank you, Marika. Well, first of all, we feel extremely validated by you mentioning that you realize how important reflection is, and also like bringing this idea to the classroom.
We're sending all our hearts to you.
Exactly. Because I think this is something that we've been reflecting, as funny as it sounds, in terms of our trainings and sort of the educational spaces that we try to create, and obviously want to benefit participants from. I think it probably would be a sentiment that both of us share at this point, but I would say that I feel very inspired, but also very proud how thoughtfully both of you engaged with a training, and also, like what you shared here has been so generous, but also, deeply connected to your own context, which is certainly something that we do hope participants bring back to their environments. And I think this is something that we also touched upon at the very beginning of the training. We come with very different backgrounds, with very different experiences, expertise. And it's only our hope that you take this, as Justine mentioned, there are quite a few tools that you take them and you adapt to yourself, and, both of you, Justine, you mentioned, the tools, having this inner communication assessment sheet on your desk, and Marika, you having already implementing the reflection and Dixit cards is just a beautiful testament, I think, to the learning space that you as participant enabled with us during that week. So thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing openly and so generously. We love hearing about the work that you are doing in your own capacities and bringing the youth work to the biggest impact in Latvia. Right? And to our listeners, stay with us as we continue the series of Desiderius Ripple, the podcast that I would always pronounce differently in each episode, where we explore how learning spaces turn into lasting change.